The ultimate content funnel. A production strategy that a lot of ad agencies use to 10x the content publication for their client. The inverted pyramid structure. The structure that is designed to deliver on great volumes of content upload. Now, this is not just ad agencies. Seasoned creators like Gary Vee and Joe Rogan have been using this very strategy for years and have been banking on millions and millions of views and subscribers over this period. Now, there have been solo creators like me who have faced a lot of problems using this very strategy. They have faced mental breakdown.
I had a mental breakdown yesterday. Let's just keep it plain and simple.
Burnout.
And I was just becoming a total maniac.
And even problems with family.
You have not to me, because I did know, but she says publicly, she's like, you have no idea how close to divorce we were. Mm-hmm.
Now, the solo creator in me and the skeptic in me had to ask, why this strategy? Why is this strategy rewarded by the algorithm so much? And why do agencies use this strategy a lot? And is there a way for us solo creators who can use this strategy and also benefit out of it? Or probably, is it not something that's made for a solo creator? Now, to understand this, first we need to understand, why do social media agencies use this strategy? So I got in touch with Izaac. Izaac is the co-founder of The Creator. Izaac is the social media and the content production side of the operation. So he's the perfect candidate to give us some answers. In our whole conversation, we try to answer 3 questions. Number 1, why is this the most recommended strategies for a lot of brands? Number 2, why has this not been sustainable for a lot of online creators? And number 3, if you are an online creator and you're starting off, what are the questions a creator needs to ask before using this strategy? Next on Content Beauty. The inverted pyramid structure. This structure is divided into 3 sections. One is production. This stage, you record anything and everything. Number 2 is long-form content, which is anything that is 20 minutes and above. Then there is short-form content, which is anything that is 60 seconds or under. At the first stage of production, you would basically record anything and everything. The goal is for you to collect as much of raw materials as possible. Now, it can be a cameraman following you 24/7, or it can be a podcast where you're recording as much of audio as possible when you're having a conversation with your guest. Once you're done recording anything and everything, you'll bring all of that raw material to post-production. In the post-production stage, the editor will then edit your footage into a minimum of 20-minute content to a 3-hour-long content. This stage specifically caters to platforms like YouTube or Spotify. Now, once you finish editing your 20-minute to 3-hour-long content, you bring the production further down to cut it into smaller segments, which is under the 60-second margin and in a vertical format. Now, this segment specifically caters to platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. Now, this strategy has not just been successful with brands, this also has been successful with creators like Gary Vee and Joe Rogan, specifically in the podcast space of the creator economy. Now, the question that I want to know, why is this such a recommended strategy in the brand space?
If you think about it, trying to sit down and record 8 different videos in 8 different scenes or 8 different places and strategizing 8 different videos, you could spend 8, 10, you could spend a whole week creating that content. But when you go this reverse pyramid way, you really start to gather all this content at the top that you can use for a long form podcast, you can use for Spotify. But what we also know is that you tend to want to reach colder audiences. And when you're baiting a new audience, you don't want to give them a 40-minute video. You want to give them little bite-sized pieces, your best bits, and entice them with that. So when you start from the top, you get your 40 minutes, and then you work your way down, you tend to get a lot of content very efficiently, is what we find, and you find the best stuff. Because when you're consolidating 40 minutes of footage into 8 10-second clips, you're going to get the best content from that 40 minutes, which is ideally going to be super interesting and engaging for the audience.
The more I researched into this strategy, the more I found that there are 2 parts of this story. One is a brand side of the story, and the other one is the creator side of the story. Now, the reason why this strategy has been so successful for brands and even some creators like Joe Rogan and Gary Vee is because they have talent and creators like Izaac who are behind creating such great content for them. Now, what happens to solo creators and small businesses who don't have the money or the resources to hire an agency or a production company to create consistent content for them? Now, for example, I can talk about me. I am constantly tired. It's like working 2 jobs. While making this video, I am surviving on Red Bull. Here, it's empty. And no, this is not a sponsored segment, but Red Bull, if you're listening, I'd be happy to receive a call from you guys. Now, talking of Red Bull, if this strategy is so unhealthy, there needs to be a sustainable solution for us creators to use this strategy to benefit and create a brand value in the digital space.
I think it's ultimately just become even more sustainable than it ever was. Even going back a year ago when I used to sit down and charge a client 6 to 8 hours to get it together, 16 clips or 20 clips of their shoot day, now we can run it through AI products. Even in Premiere Pro generally, you can just run it through, it will get your clips for you, and suddenly you'll be able to smash this out in 1 to 2 hours. So I think it is the most efficient way to gather content quick and distribute it quickly.
The more I talked to Izaac, I was getting more and more convinced that this strategy does have a potential. And there are actually some businesses out there who can use this strategy to their benefit.
What we do, to give an example with the creator, is we're creating content all the time, trying to show our face. Really, what we're trying to do is just plaster it in front of people constantly, because we know that when people see your face, they start to trust you more, especially if you have a good smile and you have a good persona. You can really take that to your advantage. So for a cafe owner, for a mortgage broker, for a mortgage advisor, insurance, all those sort of products where you are face to face, you're building your network, you need your face out there. This is the best way to create content because it's so efficient. It saves you so much time. Plus, if you're good in front of a camera, well, that's really a bonus because you know that people are going to engage with that.
And he is right. A lot of service-driven businesses can benefit a lot out of this strategy. But the strategy is not all there is to it. If you're not making good content that adds value to your audience, no matter what strategy you use, you will never get an audience member to commit to your brand.
And you need to be creating content that people actually want to watch. That's something that people often forget. If your content is boring, it's the same as everyone else's. Like, we encourage our clients to show off your personality in your videos. Bring out your why. I mean, when you go back to business, just in a general overlook, there's a great book by Simon Sinek, which is Start With Why. And it's so true. Your business and your content needs to be based off why you're doing what you're doing. If you just go ahead and start doing what you're doing without having a backing and a baseline and a foundation behind why you do it, then you're really just all over the show. You don't have this consistent story that's going to permeate throughout all your content.
And there it is. That is what a solo creator needs to think first. And that is what I think I should start thinking first as well. And interestingly, the word that started this whole film was why. Why this strategy? Why is this strategy rewarded by the algorithm so much? Now, after making this film, I don't know whether I'll be using this strategy or not for my content, but I definitely do know what is that one question I want to ask myself. I want to ask myself, how can I make this strategy work for me?